Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So as usual, let's go over the market. Let's see what the hell happened today and what to expect for tomorrow and potentially going into next week. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit the like button. It does help a lot, ladies and gentlemen. But let's just get this party started. So Tesla ending the day at $871.60. That's almost a 4% increase yet again. Guys, that is the third day in a row now we've had a pretty solid movement. We had like a 4%, like a 5%, then like a 4%, like a pretty disgusting movement today. So essentially in the last 3 days alone, ladies and gentlemen, we have went from, actually let's go from, okay, we'll go the last 3 days, just literally the last 3 days. We went about 15-ish% upwards. That is a lot. Now, again, as exciting as it is, again, I want, we're realists over here on this channel. I want to make sure you guys are fully aware that that's a lot of green. That usually means that there's not going to be a whole lot of green coming up, maybe like tomorrow or Monday or something like that. Keep that in mind, guys. That's a lot of green. Like, for instance, let's go on the 4-hour chart. Look at how many green candles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candles literally in a row, just straight up to the moon, which is good. But guys, keep in mind, don't get too euphoric. The best time, think of it this way, and this is what I actually learned myself. When you're super euphoric and you're just like, oh my God, free money, and you're like, look how much money I made, look how much money I made, or something like that. That's usually a sign that you probably want to get the hell out of the market for now, because you're probably near a short-term top, right? So that's just something to keep in mind, right? Again, great, green and everything like that, but keeping a cool, like level-headed, level head, I guess, just in general. You got to take emotions out. You see a lot of green. What does that tell you? There's probably going to be some retracement coming up, right? So let's talk about the market and how we move today. So as I was saying yesterday, this kind of breakout, this 340-ish level is important. And we ended up breaking right through that. And second we broke right through that, we kind of went up. Then 350 became important, like the 352, 353 area. Broke through that, and then we skyrocketed all the way up to 875 pretty much, which is like an insane movement. That's like crazy. So we essentially broke through what I honestly expected to be pretty major resistances as if it's nothing today. And that's why we kind of just kept rocketing upwards, even though we just had 2 fantastic green days already. And that's why we kept going today. So that's kind of the reason why that happened, right? But again, we essentially broke out of this purple line that I was talking about, right? This little purple downtrend, if you will. And you can see what happens when you break out, right? The second you start breaking out and it's fairly confirmed, you just kind of start, the momentum just kind of builds. People see that, people start buying calls, which forces the price to go up. Especially if it's short-term calls, the price kind of temporarily goes up quite fast. And then, once people start taking profits and or start buying puts, that's when the price will start slowing down and potentially start retracing. And then, that's kind of how the market goes, right? It's always in a zigzag sort of way. On top of that, you have to look at the VIX, guys. The VIX is pretty important, the volatility index. This is just a decent idea as to determine market sentiment, if you will. Essentially, the more you see this spiking, the higher the more fear there is in the market, and pretty much it also means the more people are betting on the downside, if you will. So the fact that this is going down is also correlated with the actual market itself going up, or at least not having as much volatility. Though that's not really the case. We're still getting a lot of volatility. In this case, it's just straight up. So in this case, as the market has been green, the volatility index has been red. So keep it in mind, guys. This is probably due for a quick little bounce here. And the market's probably due for a quick little bounce to the downside. My guess is tomorrow. On top of this, tomorrow is also quad witching day, where essentially it just means that there's a bunch of options that are expiring on tomorrow. And it's going to be probably volatile. It doesn't really mean that it's going to be a red day, nor does it mean it'll be a green day. A lot of people get that confused. They just assume that quad witching, oh my God, that sounds scary. Tomorrow's going to be red. I mean, yeah, it could be, absolutely. But it doesn't mean it'll be red. It just means that it'll be volatile probably. But I mean, at this point, it's like nothing surprising. This market is volatile. This feels like it's quad witching day every single day in this market lately, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so the point is, guys, we broke out of the purple downtrend, came right back up, straight skyrocket to 875, and this is where the next major resistance is going to start showing up, and this is going to be the big one in my opinion. This is like, decent resistance, but not as crazy. I think this is what we're approaching now is going to be like the true test. Like, this is like the real test. Like, this is the thing that we need to get past in order to like be like, yeah, you know what, I think we're ready to finally start breaking through. That's the real test. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it, in my opinion, the easiest way to think about it, 885 to 900 is the easiest way to think about it. Somewhere in that region, as long as we can break 885 to 900 and that region, we can turn to support instead. Whenever that happens, I think is when we're going to be very, very happy as bulls, of course. Will that happen tomorrow? Absolutely not. I mean, it could, absolutely could, but like, I would not bet on it at all. Like, I would be extremely shocked if it does. Like, it could, but I would be genuinely surprised if it goes anywhere near that high. I would be surprised if tomorrow's not a red day. I'll be completely honest, guys. Like, this is a lot of green. Great move in the past 3 days. Like, again, 15-16% movement in 3 days, which is amazing. You know, it's good to get cool-offs. Now, another important thing, guys, to remember is, so on top of this having major resistance, you can see on the weekly coming up as well, right? We have one more day, but you can see a lot of resistance coming up, the red line, the teal line, same thing on the daily, right? You know, the teal line, the red line, like, it's right there. It's ready to, you know, essentially act as resistance, especially the teal line. That's going to be major resistance, guys. Tomorrow, again, pretty much today's high, like 876, 877, maybe 880 at best. 880 to 885 at best, in my opinion, I think is going to be the top for tomorrow, if even that. Because again, I just expect major resistance, and especially after having these massive green days like this in a row, it's going to be hard to continue pushing, right? It's like, it's hard to keep, just as it is, it's hard to keep going down. It's the same concept. It's hard to go up, right? So the buying pressure will start slowing down, and it'll start getting exhausted. You can tell that by also the volume. You can see the volume is starting to slowly decrease. If you look at all, you know, this QQQ and SPY, especially the volume, very low volume today, actually surprisingly quite low. Only 64 million here, which is the same as this day over here before we retraced. So you can see that even though we're pushing up, we're starting to push up on lower volume, which is another sign that, yeah, you know what, we're probably getting a little bit tired of, you know, buying, and, you know, the buying pressure is starting to get exhausted. So in my opinion, there's a pretty high chance that we're going to retrace probably tomorrow and Monday. That's my current guess right now. But the important thing here, and same with the SPY, you can see the SPY, very low volume, like extremely low volume, actually, probably some of the lowest volume we've had in the past like 2-3 weeks. So it's just, you know, it's something to keep in mind, I guess, is one thing to put. But looking at this from a bullish perspective, which I am starting to actually flip bullish, but that doesn't mean that we're going to continue going up. So what this means is, I think the overall trend is starting to potentially show that we're ready to start moving to the upside overall. But what does this mean coming into, you know, the next few days? So just because we push up like this, just because we get red coming up, in my opinion, again, just because I think tomorrow, Monday, whatever, will be red, that doesn't mean that it's bad. If anything, that's actually good. The thing that we're looking for, however, on the red is, where does it go on the red? Where does it retrace? How far does it fall? That's going to be extremely important coming up right here, right now. So let's talk about that. Ideally, what the bulls want to see, the most ideal situation, and I've said this before if you're following the videos, is whenever you do a breakout, whether it's a breakout upwards or downwards, it's very common to kind of retrace back to that level that you just broke out of, retest it, and confirm or fail. That's important. So in this case, let's use this as an example. So I'm going to remove this line right here. It should be useless now. So we broke out of this downtrend that we were in. Boom. Great breakout. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if potentially even somewhat aggressively we sell off. But the important thing is, I want about 825 or so within the next like few days or something like that, maybe even tomorrow, but I doubt tomorrow, probably like tomorrow or Monday. I want like 830 to like 825, somewhere in that range to hold, because what that means is that we broke out, came down, retested this line that we just broke out of, which again will be around that 830-ish line, or level rather, show support and bounce. That's what I want to see. I want to see a bounce at this 825 to 830 level. I want this line to hold on the retest. And then if this is confirmed to now be support, which it should, in my opinion, unless something happens to the market or something drastic or some bad news comes out, I do think that we'll come down, we'll retest 825 to 830, confirm it, and then that'll be a good sign that we're ready to come up and start testing these levels up here with the red line and the teal line, and start, you know, essentially fighting that battle next. The other option is the fact that we come to retest it, but we fail, and then we break back under. Similar to what happened over here with this red line, how we broke out, kind of came back, retested it a little bit here, fell under, came back up again, couldn't retest it, fell under, retested it here, acted as resistance this time, and then we fell. So it's like same concept where like you can have false breakouts, and this technically could be just a false breakout. This could be like an absolutely, probably the biggest bull trap ever. Absolutely, it could be, which is why it's important to see the retests, to see if they succeed or not. Again, you want to come down 825, 830 within the next few days or so, probably next week, and confirm the retest, and then we'll see off of that. That's the most important thing right now for Tesla specifically that we're looking at. So that's like the bullish scenario. The bearish scenario is if Tesla follows the indices. And why do I say that? Well, on the SPY at least, we have gaps. I believe we have gaps. Let me just double check it. Yeah, we have a gap all the way here on the SPY at 417. This is, I mean, this is technically a gap. We kind of came down here, but the gap is technically at this 318 level. So technically the QQQ has a gap to fill at 318 as well, which is like quite a, that's quite a downtrend from here. That's like a 7% drop. Jeez, that's a lot. So that's technically the bear case scenario in my opinion. Will it happen? Who knows? Again, not every gap is filled, but 9 out of 10 gaps will be filled. This could be the outlier. That is not impossible whatsoever. Same with the SPY. This also could be the outlier. This could be that 1 out of 10 gaps that doesn't fill. It's very possible, but it's also very possible that is not, right? So keep that in mind, guys. You know, we want to keep a cool head here. We want to make sure we're looking at both sides. We understand how the chart's moving, but keep in mind also on top of this that, you know, we are essentially entering overbought territory. You can see the 1 hour on the QQQ and the SPY is essentially approaching overbought territory. It's like tapping, knocking on the doors. Tesla even more so actually. So we are essentially entering overbought territory. So again, it would not surprise me whatsoever to get a downtrend coming up within the next few days, especially tomorrow being a volatile day most likely. And people probably, after such a run, especially like this indices probably getting a little squeeze and whatnot. It wouldn't surprise me if traders especially kind of, you know, are happy with these profits that we just had the past few days, exit their positions. And yeah, so that's essentially what I'm seeing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a longer video, but there's a lot to talk about, it feels like, in this kind of market. This is a wild market. There's a lot to talk about. Hopefully I'm making sense. Hopefully this is useful information to you guys, but that's essentially what I'm seeing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, for the ultimate, the true like giga bull case would be essentially breaking like 885. If we break 885, that's like the giga bull case tomorrow. So unless that happens, I'm like 99% sure we're going to retrace. But either way, that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think about it down below, and I will see you guys for tomorrow's update. So until then, have a good day. Peace.